Hi, it's Robbie from Southern California, and I'm sitting in my chair garden, and I have exciting news. It's an update. I love doing updates. Well, you remember early on, I trimmed back all my watermelon I had growing. I grew 3 watermelon plants in an 18-gallon tote, and then I grew 2 watermelon plants to see how many I could push. Well, I found out I could easily do 3 watermelon plants in one 18-gallon tote, and I let each one do 1 watermelon, which has been fantastic. Now, I trimmed the plant back. I didn't trim everything off, but I didn't allow it to get too big because I wanted it to concentrate on the sugar baby that took really good and let them get really big, which worked perfect. And not only that, I told you how I did it. I leave them on the plant, and as soon as the tendril turns brown, you can remove it or leave it, but I don't eat it for a week. I let the sugars get really sweet and intense, and it works fantastic. But today I do have an update. I have to tell you what happened to those cuttings. So at first, I used to trim and throw everything away. Oh, I never throw anything away. Let's back up. Everything gets composted. Well, life is going to change here starting this year and especially next spring. Because guess what? You can do cuttings, you can root them, and they do grow. I am going to show you the proof. It's only been out here for a short time, under 2 weeks now, and let me show you what happened to one of the cuttings. Now, this is an 18-gallon tote. It's growing a purple bean in there, and it has 2 cuttings off the sugar baby watermelon, as well as a seedling I had planted in there. I can't believe my eyes what I saw this morning, and it's taking off. Now, I have to keep this covered because I do have deer that are coming through and munching on a lot of stuff. They love tomatoes this year. But if they find out they like watermelon leaves, then I will lose my watermelon plant. See, here's one here. It's got a small one. I don't know if that one will make it, but there's a giant one in there. And I want to make sure they don't touch that, as well as the other one that's back here. I have another big one, and it's covered in tulle. And the deer, mice, rats, squirrels don't like the tulle, so it works fantastic, and I clip them on with metal clips. This has just been so exciting to me. I had to share this immediately. Look at this, because I looked yesterday and I didn't notice it. Okay, this is on really good. Let me get the clip off. We're going to go into all the things we can do in our garden and why totes are so wonderful, because you can get these metal clips and you can clip anything you want to the edge of the totes. Now, what I've got here is a pitcher, and everything is breaking down super fast, but it's feeding these watermelon plants, which I didn't know would all make it. This one back here is the double. Let me see if you can see this. This one had a root here and a root here, and it hasn't done too much yet, but they're alive. That's a purple bean, and this is the seedling, see? And the seedling's starting to grow, but look at this. See that seedling? Look at this. This is what's exciting. This is the single root one. Look at the new plant. It's growing from the stem. See there? And now it's sending off a new plant, and it already has tendrils starting everything off this rooted sugar baby. So now that is going to change my life. Why is that going to change my life? And by the way, this is just a sunflower. Must have been in the soil I tossed in here, because this is all soil that came out of another tote. And it is just fantastic. So now I have 3 plants in here if they make it. I have this one, the seedling I just planted, which is also a sugar baby, and this one. And I want to make sure I keep that well covered. This has just been exciting, because now this teaches me, and this is a learning experience we're all going through, that when I start my sugar babies next year, which will probably be in July, if I start them too early and we still have cool nights, they don't grow. They go dormant, then they kind of slowly grow out there, and they just don't get the size that I want. The stem is growing, but not that vigorous, big, healthy looking stem. So I found out here, if I start them in July, see how fast they grow? Right temperature, they take off. Once they start to grow, I am definitely going to start doing trimmings when I get a watermelon on there. And this time, the trimmings are all going to be rooted. And I am going to be putting them everywhere. This is going to be phenomenal. I will be able to get a lot of plants growing out of one plant. Can you imagine? I mean, I'm still going to plant multiple plants. I still will get multiple seeds growing, because I'll get 3 in each tote from now on. So this way, if one plant doesn't make it, I still have 2. And you know what? the way they grew, and with a pitcher, I may be able to push 4 plants, provided I don't let them do more than 1 watermelon per plant. But what I'm excited about is as they're growing and throwing watermelon, which I could do here too now, is I can start to take cuttings. Look at this. I've got a new one. I didn't see this the other day. There's another watermelon starting. Now, what I can do is start doing trimmings. And especially when I know which plant's got what watermelon on it, I can start trimming off the long extra trimmings. Now, you can trim it anywhere. It doesn't mean it has to be an end tip. I don't have to just trim this part. You wouldn't want to trim anything with a watermelon because you want your watermelon to grow. But you can trim a long stem. I can trim it all the way. And each section where it has a leaf, where the tendril's coming out, right underneath is where it's going to set root. It's going to set root there, set there. Now I've got one in there, I just showed you in that tote, that I have roots under both sections, and I planted it that way. I don't know if that's better. I don't really know. We'll see together. You and I will see. But the one that sent out a whole new plant is one section. That's all it is, just one section, and it has already sent out a new plant there. So this is exciting. I wanted to share it with you because I think it's worth knowing. And if you've got any issues with any animals, here is the irrigation tubing. See how I did this? I didn't even cut the tool off. Look at this. It's not that I'm lazy, but I threw it on there and I'm not sure exactly how I wanted to do it. So I just threw it over there. I clipped it on. I put a little flag that I had on top because we're like 100 degrees. So I found this watermelon flag I had in the house and just clipped it on to give it a little extra shade so it has sunshade. And they are as happy as can be. And as I was saying, the irrigation tubing, I made it longer. So I've got this bulge, but you can go straight. It's like a puzzle. You're going to put it together the way you want. You can take it apart and then put it back together later. You can just use the corner pieces as I do up there. You can extend sticks by putting them longer. I just love the irrigation tubing. But I was so excited. I wanted to come back and share with you that can you grow watermelon from cuttings? Yes. Will they grow like that on the plant? I'm going to say I have been bearing the vines that grow along the top. I've never had them set root. So I don't know if they will set root if they're on the ground. I mean, they should have in the tote. It wouldn't have mattered. It was getting really good water. I pressed them down. I even put something on top. They didn't set root. So I don't know if they just suck up a little water for the plant because they're feeding off the main stem. But once I trimmed them off and put them in water and I left them outside, the ones I brought in the house rotted. Now, this time of the year, I had the same thing with the tomatoes. The ones that were in a cup inside rotted, but the ones outside root. So I think it's just too humid in the house. It's kind of like houseplants not being able to grow outside. It's not the right temperature for certain plants. The humidity is not right. Well, I think it's too humid this time of the year. And that could be what's going on. So I'm going to just find an area in the shade, do the cuttings outside. They're acclimated to the outside air. And then as soon as they have roots, I'm going to plant them. So I wanted to give that update so you know what's going on. So with that, have a wonderful, wonderful day. And don't forget to eat what you grow. And have we. Bye-bye. I moved the sunflower. I know somebody that loves sunflowers. So we'll see what happens.